Welcome back. So let's open up to our panel of moms and get some real practical advice from everybody. So what have been your favorite vacation spots to take your kids?
I like taking the kids to the water parks because they're at that age. They're 11 to 3. And my favorite thing is to go to the beach. And we travel out east to Pennsylvania and visit my family in Philadelphia and then drive down to the New Jersey shore, Wildwood.
Nice.
And the beaches are just great, and the ocean, and then at nighttime the boardwalk is fantastic.
Yeah, and the beach is great too because the kids can be occupied for hours.
Exactly.
Be so happy. How about anybody else?
We like to go to the water park just around here, like the Edge Water Park in Duluth, Minnesota. That's always fun because you can stay in the hotel and then you can like look out at the water park because it's right in the hotel. The kids like that. They don't really. My son, he's 3. He says, I don't like to go to the cabin because it takes too long to get home. So,
So nice, easy trips
yeah,
too. Which
someplace
is,
close.
Yeah,
Because then they're not beat for school.
right, right.
For our family, luxury would be going when we go to Cabo in Mexico. And then practical would be our road trips that we go. We try to hit as many national parks as we can because it's always fun exploring.
And you camp?
No, we don't camp. We do in our backyard once in a while.
Where the bathroom's very close.
Yeah.
Or
Usually end up
condo camping.
inside. Yeah. But the road trips always create the most memories, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it that to keep your kids occupied in the car or when we're traveling in the airplane to not have fights and just to make the whole experience really enjoyable? What are some great tips that you can give everybody?
My baby is 6 months old, and so when we are taking a road trip, we'll start with a solid morning, and then we'll put her in the car right at her nap time, and that usually gives us a really good start on the trip. We'll have a good 2 or 3 hours of her sleeping, which helps us.
And how long has been your longest road trip with her so far?
Our longest has been 5 hours, and she only cried the last half hour of the trip. She made it about 3 hours. We stopped and fed her and changed her diaper and then got back on the road, and it went really well.
That's really great. That's a long time for her to be happy for, too. Yeah. How about anybody else?
We drive all over the place all the time. I mean, that's like that's the thing we do. We just get in the car and we drive because we get bored in the house. And like the kids always fall asleep towards the end. And so like I personally worry that like when they're next like that they're gonna wake up with a stiff neck. So I always like pack like blankets and stuffed animals and I like wedge them in their heads so then I can be like comfortable and relaxed and know that they're not gonna be in pain when they wake up. And then we just like stop at like all the gift stores in the area, or not all of them, but like some of them. And then we buy new toys.
And they get along great on the trips.
They do. They get along pretty good. I mean, we've been doing it since they're both young, so.
That's awesome.
They like
They're just
it.
used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was pregnant, I was determined to not have traveling change at all after I had my baby. And I wanted to go to the same places and have everything remain the same. And it wasn't. I did not want to be on the plane with my baby for more than like 3 hours. And I decided that it was fine. And we just have gone to a lot of different new places that I probably wouldn't have necessarily gone before. So how has traveling changed for you? And have you discovered new places that you maybe wouldn't have tried before?
I don't know that I found new places, but you just pick kid-friendly places and make sure that there's activities for kids, because if you want a trip just with your husband, then you do just a trip with your husband.
Or you end up splitting up on your vacation. Like when your 18-month-old wants to be in the hotel room in Cabo, then you split up.
Yeah, and so your husband does one part and you do another part with the other kids.
Yeah,
then.
like the older kids wanted to go zip lining, and the 18-month-old wants to watch cartoons because they don't understand the beauty of Cabo. Then you sacrifice. So,
I suppose if
give
you
and
go
take.
into it with the recognition that your trip is not going to be the same, but it's going to be really different and it's going to be beautiful as a different trip.
Yep.
And it makes it all good. Yeah. So has anybody ever decided to turn around mid-trip because kids were getting a little out of control, or and what have you done about it?
We have turned around like not even halfway there because we're going to a wedding. We got to kind of the crest of the hill on 94 and we looked out in front of us and it was like bumper to bumper as far as we could see. And it was my friend's wedding and I just said, she's gonna have to understand I can't take all this time to be in a car with this kid, and we turned around. But never for misbehavior, but just because I didn't want to put her through all those hours of sitting in traffic.
Yeah, that would be a lot to ask of a kid to do that, especially for someone she probably doesn't know.
Yeah. She'd get to dance at the wedding, but she'd get to dance at home too. So.
So how about anybody have any memorable trips that you'd want to share?
The one time I was pregnant with my third, so I had the two boys, and they're 3 and 3.5 and 2. And the 2-year-old's crawling under the seat. And next thing I know, the flight attendant said, "Ma'am, your son just left the plane." And I'm like, really? I was by myself traveling with these two, and so
And she
there I
didn't
didn't.
stop.
No. I would have thought there'd be a little more help. Like,
Yeah,
don't let
from them.
little 2-year-old leave. This was obviously when the plane was boarding
Right.
before they closed the door. Yeah,
And you were by yourself.
I was by myself.
Oh my goodness.
Kids will get sick on, trips. And so I always try to remember to pack like extra Tylenol, extra
Clothes,
allergy medicine.
extra clothes.
Extra undies.
The medicine bag too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had the explosive diaper happen on me too, sitting on the plane when August was like, I think 1, and I'm like, "Oh, Jim, I've got an issue here." Like, what? And I'm like, ah. So yes, pack extra clothes for yourself too.
Yeah.
So tell us your most interesting traveling moment with kids.
A couple years ago, Elizabeth, I was pregnant with my 4th kid, and I had 3 kids under 8, and I wanted to go back to Philadelphia to visit family. So I thought, well, I better come up with a plan because I want them to behave and make it easier for me. So I told them that if they wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese, because their cousin was going to take them there, I said they needed to behave at the airport and on the airplane. So I gave them each notepads, and I had a big jumbo book of stickers. And every chance I got, I was rewarding them. And it was just, it worked so well. They were happy. They were excited to get the stickers. And it was a great little trick.
And you should get a sticker too for doing it. Oh my goodness. I
You were
heard you had
happy
an
about
interesting
that.
story too, Patty.
Just a fun story. Anyway, so we traveled with our 4 kids all the time when they were little, and so stopped at a hotel on a road trip. And I just always have the habit of always pulling down the covers on the bed and the sheets just to make sure there's no critters in the beds. I've always done this. Okay, so our daughter Kelly Jo that night said, "Mom, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just checking to make sure there's no bugs in the beds." That's it. Okay, so we all went to bed, and it was our 2 daughters in one bed, and then the 4 of us in a large king bed. Dad and the 2 boys and myself in the king bed. Well, about 3 in the morning, I hear. I said, "Kelly, what's up?" It was Kelly next to me, and she was crying, and I said, "What's up?" She said, "There was a huge bug," and she said, "I flicked it." In total blackness in the hotel room. And I said, "Well, where did you flick it?" And she said, "Well, it landed on Shannon." Well, of course, then Shannon, who was supposedly sleeping, flew out of bed. I mean, crazy. Now all the lights are on. And of course, I was no help whatsoever because I was absolutely hysterically laughing. Anyway, no bugs at all. Just kind of disrupted the whole night, but I'm sure I planted that seed in her head. So all night long, she was thinking about these bugs. But it was hysterical.
so
Yeah, it was
funny.
hysterical.
Well, that's great advice and great stories, ladies. Thank you so much for being with us. And up next, we've got children's book author Catherine Yurdahl.